I mean, if you look at the way that Queen Elizabeth and the royal family have tended to try to express celebrations of the monarchy and particularly of her jubilees, they try to do it in sort of the most inclusive way that they can to ensure that, the focus is not just on Queen Elizabeth, but really on sort of everything that she's lived through, which has really been an extraordinary expansive time when I think there's been the most rapid change, not only in the United Kingdom, but in the wider Commonwealth. That we've seen really for hundreds of years in this last 70 years. And I think, if you look at her first Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, he was born in 1874. And if you look at her current Prime Minister, Liz Truss, she's born in 1975. So that's an extraordinary generational expanse that the Queen has presided over while she's been over the throne. And as you say, there's still some debate, as there always is, over whether you should have a monarchy or whether you should have a republic. But ultimately, the Queen, tries to rise above politics, partly due to the experience that she had as a younger child, witnessing her uncle, Edward, being king. Of course, who presided over very, very difficult and tumultuous periods in the royalty, which really kind of taught Queen Elizabeth the most important lesson in terms of what it means to be a modern monarch. And that is to basically rise above politics and ensure that there is a very strict definition of power within the UK system between a ceremonial position of what the monarchy and the Queen has and between where power is sort of properly held within the political system.
And of course, her reign has been marked by so many high points and low points. Her coronation, a spectacle unto itself, the first such coronation to be broadcast live around the world by television, and then at the Jubilee, that very touching moment with Paddington Bear in Buckingham Palace, where she jokingly, supposedly took a sandwich out of her handbag, connecting with everybody in a way which perhaps monarchs aren't expected to behave, and the Queen, very many wouldn't have expected to have made that very touching connection. So she's a very special person, isn't she?
I think to so many people in the UK, she's an incredibly special person. I would say she's probably the foremost icon within the United Kingdom. Really, the way that she has sort of touched every generation in the UK and is such an integral part of the discourse and the culture of the country really means that the Queen connects kind of with a large part of the population in a way that so many other people don't. And they don't simply just view her as sort of a constitutional asset, but actually someone that really forms part of the identity of the country. But it's been a really interesting sort of evolution of the way that the Queen has sort of approached publicity and engaging with the public. Sort of beginning, I think, in the 1970s, they produced this broadcast series on the royal family, which was very poorly received, actually, which was never actually shown again. But generally, sort of since then, we've seen the Queen and publicists try to slowly sort of change the way that monarchs and the Queen has interacted with the public, ultimately to try to shift with sort of moving times. We've seen the Queen obviously move to social media, to Twitter, and I think Instagram. So we've really seen a sort of change in the way that the Queen has interacted with different generations, which has enabled her really to have that relationship with so many different generations over the UK. So as I say, she's certainly someone that sort of occupies a unique position within the UK's culture.
And this is why the People's Hearts of Britain are brought together to focus on wishing her every best speed for recovery, including right across the political spectrum in the UK. So this isn't yet the time for an obituary. It's a time just to think about why is this moment so important. So just finally, let me ask you, what do you, again, this is almost in the realm of speculation, but what do you think we can expect to be hearing from the palace, however things go? Will they issue press releases in due course to if she's still well, to just calm the mood? What can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to predict because obviously we predict with this kind of situation. What I would say is that many people have interpreted the statement that was released as trying to sort of prepare the public for the Queen's eventual departure and her passing. But as you say, you don't quite know how long the situation can last. if it lasted for several more days, I think you would expect more statements just to provide a basic update to do with the Queen's health and also to do with where the royal family are. But of course, it's a very sort of strange and unique situation where there's really kind of no news until there's major news.
Yes. And
of course, so much of his attention and the world's attention is really focused on what is happening right now. But really, we don't know any more than obviously we've been provided for in the statements. But ultimately, that leaves quite a difficult balance for commentators and broadcasters. As you say, now is not the time for a sort of premature obituary. But at the same time, you also want to reflect on the person's life and just try to acknowledge the kind of seriousness of the situation and also the implications for the country at large.